Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Monday, the 24th of November. Starting out with the FTSE 100, which has bounced a bit, but still getting a bit blocked around the Thursday peak around 9,600. Need an end of day close through that to give us the chance of heading back towards the 9650, 9700 area, which I suppose was support on the way down. And then after that, obviously dreaming of the top of the channel up towards 99.50 by the end of the year. On the downside, October support towards the 92.80 zone, probably the worst we're expecting, if at all, in terms of the market remaining above that June uptrend line, currently around 94.40. So ideally, 94.40 is the floor, and we just head higher from there again after the quite a big pullback, really, that we had from the record high peak. The DAX is next, and this has been in rather more trouble than the FTSE. Here you can see that we bounced, I suppose, near May support, so that's around 22,900. Still thought or still think that there's a risk of 22,600, which is the floor of that April gap, but so far managed to avoid it. A bit of a bounce there in the RSI window, but unless we get an end of day close back above the 200-day line, 23,400, still have a risk of 22,600. Upside at the moment back to 24,000 and the 50-day moving average zone at best. Looked at the Dow yesterday, and obviously you can take another look today. Here you can see that we bounced off what could be for the rising trend channel there from back in June. So that area around 45,800. Still need to break the 50-day line, 46,600, to then give us a chance of heading up to the top of the channel and as high as 49,000 by the end of the year. Obviously, we are always expecting a year-end rally. Obviously, the Dow normally strong as well in the run-up to the Thanksgiving holidays, which I presume are at the end of this week. Cryptos are next, and it's been a brutal month so far for the cryptos, especially the situation at Bitcoin. Here you can see that we had a potential target there, the lower parallel there, the March-April parallel of the top of the channel there at 86,000. Below that, still have the risk of a fresh move to the downside, derived from the uptrend line there from back in September last year. So heading for 76,000. So below 86, 76,000 a possibility, and presumably that would be enough to assuage the bears, at least for the time being, after the fall from 126,000. Above 86, best case at the moment up to 93, but as you can see, markets making hard work of any rebound that we've had so far. Ethereum is next, and here more disappointment in the air. The situation is that we had previous support towards 29.50. Now we've had resistance at today's high only around 28.55, so not looking good. Looks as though we're going to have to head back towards the June support area or July support area around 2400 if we don't manage to recover the 2900 to 3000 zone in the first part of this week. So a grim picture there. Moving on to gold, and here, obviously less grim. Here you can see that we're still bouncing above the rising 50-day line, 39.82. While we're above that, looking for 4,200 plus. Best case by the end of the year is up to 4,600. 1-year resistance line projection. Worst case, probably that we've got to retest the October support area around 38.70. But the RSI remains above neutral 50, so that is a good look. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with the stock which I was trolled on Friday, which normally suggests actually that the people who are trolling are wrong. But here you can see that suspicions that the market here would bounce around the 0.2 pence area so far proved to be right. What's interesting now, there's not really much between recent broken resistance around 0.28 and support on the way down, which was around the 0.8 level. So let's see if Amazing AI can move from 0.4 to 0.8. That would be quite a coup and quite an event. Best case here is up to the top of that, well, up to that resistance line projection there, at September resistance line there, 0.95. But at the moment, probably being conservative, looking for 0.5 to 0.6 rather than the 0.8, given the lay of the land here. But certainly outperforming what you can see on Bitcoin and Ethereum at the moment by quite some margin in a soggy market for the cryptos. Moving on to Alkemy, which seems to go better by the day. I believe there was a news story about the UK coming up with this critical mineral strategy, which will obviously be great for Alkemy. I don't think they've commented on it yet. They should do, but maybe they don't need to, given the way the shares are going. Top of the channel there from October last year, 365. Above that on an end of day close basis, looking for 445 by the end of next month. Ideally, we don't now go back below previous resistance around 325. Moving on to Eurasia and Ferrexpo, which is coming up next, are both beneficiaries of potential peace in our time this week, possibly by Thursday. It's already been in the charts for several days, and it's a bit of a lap of honour, really, in terms of the charting. But 6.25 the target here, possibly with or without peace in Ukraine, and ideally the shares stay above 4.9 the old October resistance. Best case by the end of next month would be up to 7.75, basically testing March 2025 resistance, which is also the highs of the year. Moving on to Ferrexpo, which certainly has followed through on our hint that the shares were going to bounce. Basically, I think they were in the 57, 58 pence area previously. The last time we looked at them, we're looking for 65 pence. We've got it above 65. Now we're looking for as high as 86 pence. And looking for that by the end of this month, given the lay of the land in terms of the news. Next on the list is Jangada, where I think we've got a new director in the mix. Here, that's pushed the shares further away from our previous target, 1.5 pence. Looking for 2.25 by the end of next month, or we were by the end of next month, which is a resistance line projection back in March last year. 50 and 200-day lines both rising, so we're quite confident that 2.25 can be reached while we're on the right side of 1.5. Marechale is next, and from memory, I believe this is a main board shell, but obviously you can look it up yourself. Here you can see that we've broken recent resistance at 1.8 pence. Above that, we've been looking for 2.7 pence, and it looks as though we're going to get it, especially given the way that the 50 and 200-day lines are either rising or just about to start rising pretty soon. Next up is a stock which I've got quite a soft spot for on a fundamental basis, and it's Manx Financial. Here you can see the little bull flag just resting against the 50-day moving average. We've also had an RSI 50 rebound. Top of the channel there up to 45 pence, and we're looking for that by the end of next month on an end of day close above that 50-day moving average. Ideally, we stay above 23 pence, whatever happens to the floor of that channel. Good look at the moment for Shield Therapeutics, and here you can see why, just breaking that 50-day line. Rising trend channel there from June, top of the channel there, 11 pence. We're looking for that by the end of next month on a successful end of day close, or end of day closes above the 50-day line around current levels. Ideally, we stay above or on the right side of 7 pence, whatever happens. Nobody really looks at aqua stocks apart from me, and we're expecting a medal on that basis. But here you can see that Sulnox has gapped up a mid-move consolidation there, top of the channel there, up to 80 pence. We're looking for that by the end of next month or even sooner, especially while we're above recent broken resistance at 58 pence. On to the last two. Trellus is first. It got a bit of money from one of its major shareholders, which is nice. And in fact, even though ominous about what's next for the company, the shares have gone up, breaking the rising 50-day line. Means we're looking for a penny by the end of next month, even if, or whatever happens really on the fundamental front there, looks as though gapping off the lows there is a decent signal. Obviously, we don't want to see any fresh lows below 0.53 pence. Finishing off with WeCap, where I think there's about 100 different guesses as to what the fair value of the shares should be. Probably where the shares are at the moment is probably what nobody thinks that where they should be. They probably either think they should be lower or much higher, preferably much higher. Rising trend channel there from July, top of the channel there, heading for 4.25 pence. That would be the target there for the end of next month, while we're above the floor of the channel there at 2 pence. So let's see if the shares can step up to the plate. We've got the rising 50 and 200-day line, and obviously the whole thing here would appear to depend on when Peel Hunt have sold all their shares or finding out of the situation there. But at the moment, it looks as though maybe the worst is over on the pullback for the stock at the moment. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.